Okay, hello everybody. So today we're going to continue our discussion in chapter 6, sections 3 and 4, with some more examples of solving these systems by elimination. Now, what I want you to see in these couple examples that I'm going to show you is that we don't unfortunately always have variables that are opposites of one another. So if you look in this first example that we did in the last video, you can see that the 6 and the -6 were very easy because they were opposites. So when we added them together, they canceled. Same thing here in this second example we did in the last video. The -3 and the 3 are already opposites. So when we add them together, they will cancel each other out. So what we can do is if we have a problem like this where we do have the same number, 2, but the signs are the same, is rather than adding those two equations up, we are going to subtract the two equations. So I'm going to go ahead and put a minus sign like this and draw my line. But you have to remember that each term gets subtracted. So in the first part, you can see I have 5 minus 9, which gives me -4r. Okay, the second one, we have 2t and then minus 2t, which is 0. That's good. We want those two to cancel. We need one of the two variables to cancel. The last part of this is we need to do 6 minus 22, and that will give us -16. So what you see by subtracting now, we're able to get the two t's to go away, and we're only left with one variable, r, which is easily solved for by dividing by -4. So once I divide by -4, I get r equals +4. Now, once we have the r value, we need to substitute it back in to either the first or the second equation. I'm going to use the first one just because it has a little bit of smaller numbers there. So you can see it's 5, and then we're going to put a 4 in for where the r was. The r was right there. We put a 4 in because we solved for r and got 4. So 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2t is equal to 6. And now this is like every other equation you've solved. It's a two-step equation, and we will subtract 20, and we'll get 2t equals -14. And lastly, we'll divide by 2, and we'll get t is equal to -7. Now, as a general rule, when we're solving for these variables, if we have variables that are not x and y, in this case we have an r and a t, you would put them alphabetized when you write the ordered pair. So you can see the r comes first in the equation. We are going to write the r first in the ordered pair, and it would be 4, -7. Now the second set that I'm going to show you is this one. And once again, you can see that the variables b have the same number. They both have a -3 there. Okay, so if we were to add those up, it would equal -6, and that's not going to cancel. So we need to subtract both of them since the signs are the same. Now this one's going to be a little trickier because of the minus, which I'll show you. But it's the same procedure. 6a minus 2a is going to be 4a. Then we have -3b minus -3b. So this would essentially turn into a plus. And so now we would have opposites. So that would cancel. -3 minus -3 is 0. And last we have 27 minus 11, which is 16. To solve that, next we would divide by 4, and we would get a equals 4. We have our answer. Okay, so what I want you to see is if the numbers are exactly the same with the same sign, you should subtract them. If they're opposites like they were in the previous video, then you can just add the two equations together. Now, once we have the a equals 4, we're going to go back and we're going to substitute that in. I'm going to use the first one, I think. Let's use the second one. So 2, and then the a, 2 times a is 4, minus 3b equals 11. So we substituted 4 in for A. 2 times 4 is 8. And now we're going to proceed to solve this. We're going to subtract 8 from both sides. Negative 3b is equal to 3. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3. And I get b equals negative 1. Now, once again, as I said in the last problem, when you have variables different than x and y, you want to list them so they're alphabetized. So the a comes first. So we would have 4, and then we would have comma negative 1. And that is going to be your solution. So hopefully that made sense to you. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Have a good day.